Impacts President Biden and his approval rating. Friends of the show, Mo Kelly, host of The Mo Kelly Show, and Tony Katz, host of Eat, Drink, Smoke. Happy New Year to you, gentlemen. It's good to see you again. I know you had a little time off. I hope you enjoyed it. So let's talk about the president's disapproval now at 56%, which, as we said, is a new high. Mo, you have to be hearing about this on your show, right?
Believe in perspective. Nothing declarative, nothing determinative is happening right now. If we go back 10 months before the presidential election, it looked very good for President Trump. If we go 10 months back before the recall effort against California Governor Gavin Newsom, it looked very bleak for him. So poll numbers are what they are in the moment. But you do have to concede that it's not where the Democrats or President Biden wants to be. They need a win. They need something positive. And if they don't do it soon, it could further snowball.
Tony, is it that bad? I mean, you just heard Stephen there. I'll ask you, is the glass half full or half empty?
I think it is a question of perspective. But if we're talking about the poll numbers, the 56% disapproval, that's soft. It is far greater than that when you talk to the people who are on Midwest Main Street. Stephen Moore is right. Wall Street is cooking. Midwest Main Street doesn't feel it that way. When they're not able to get people to fill those jobs, they don't have the ability to grow. But the inflation still affects them in what they're putting out there. The whole conversation of real wages. Do you think anybody's really bothered if wages are going up? That's not the issue. The issue is you can't find the people even when you're spending the money on the real wages. So what you have is not a question of the glass half full or half empty. It's a question of which one is creating an unbelievable frustration and these constant limits the business owners are running into because of where we're at, because of what's happening socially and economically and the inflation. That is driving them mad and hurting them incredibly.
Well, there are a lot of frustrations. Is it fair to pin all this on the president?
It's never fair, but it's always a fact that the president gets the blame. Now, this is something which will work in his favor in the coming months. We know that the Fed is going to raise the interest rates, and historically, that usually helps to ease inflation. Now, he has to worry about whether the stock market pulls back a bit, and then he runs into the danger of stagflation. But no matter what, the result of the economy, the president gets the credit or the blame. And they don't have much time. Going back to the Democrats needing a win, they need to be able to pass a bill like Build Back Better. And to Tony's point, people have to feel it in their everyday lives for it to matter. So they need to pass something in the near term, not 4 or 5 months from now.
Well, that didn't sound like something Stephen Moore supported, and we know that Republicans don't, Tony. If the president takes the blame, as they often do, does he get the credit if he somehow finds a way to turn this around, whether it's COVID or the inflation situation?
Only if people in their everyday lives, like, you know what, things are better than they were 8 months ago. Okay, we're on the right track. That's about feel. The whole conversation that Steve Moore was having about consumer price index, right? Consumer confidence is really the story. How do you feel about how the nation is doing? And people do not feel good about it. And they don't feel that the Biden administration has any hold on the subject whatsoever. They seem completely detached from it. When you have President Biden saying, well, the problem is those 4 beef providers and those meat producers and packagers, they're the ones who are jacking up prices and hurting you at the grocery store. That's a blame conversation when inflation is about his policies. That's not going to work. That dog won't hunt on Midwest Main Street. It doesn't work in a lot of places. So the problem for the Biden administration is about a conversation of how detached he is from the American people. And he's pretty dang detached.
Mo, is it possible to turn this around in the next 10 months for Democrats?
Absolutely. And if it's about our feelings change from day to day, week to week, month to month. That's why we poll every single week, because our feelings change. And let's not forget, President Biden will not be on the ballot in 2022. Are there consequences for Democrats writ large? Absolutely. But it doesn't mean that President Biden himself will be the determining factor of the hopes and dreams of the Democrats.
Yes, he is. Mo. Of course Joe Biden's on the ballot in 2022. That's why you have so many retirements. Of course he is. The failures are absolutely on the ballot. It's without question.
All right, Mo Kelly, host of The Mo Kelly Show, and Tony Katz, host of Eat, Drink, Smoke. Good to see you, gentlemen. Take care.
You too.
Amid the COVID chaos, the Biden administration has promised to supply 500 million free home COVID tests to fight Omicron by the middle of